Thank you so much for being with us today. We're in chapter 5 of Isaiah. And if you didn't hear yesterday's video, I hope you will, because Rudy went from just seeing this as a history lesson to bringing this to present day. We need to hear the message of Isaiah for our day and then obviously for the future. We're now in chapter 5, the second section. We're going to take 3 days with this. And he starts off by talking and listing some of the problems that Isaiah had with his people back then, but we obviously have today. So it says in verse, I think it's 7, you who join house to house, who add field to field, until there's no room for anyone but you. So the idea is people are just expanding. I've got to have more property, I've got to have more things. I saw a sports star standing beside his brand new yacht. You know, Rudy, you and I need a yacht, right? What would we, a yacht to travel? Yeah, right, okay? And so that is a problem. You want to comment on that real quick?
Well, materialism is an issue, and when God was showing this to Isaiah, he didn't have the details we have today, but back then it was house to house, field to field, and I think that the complaint from God through Isaiah is that you have all this wealth because of me, but you're not taking care of the weak, right. And which causes this iniquity or inequality, which basically God has been railing against since the beginning.
Right. So you're the Hebrew scholar, but I'm going to test that out on you. God taught the people that the land was his, not theirs.
Correct.
And he loaned them the land.
And I think that, you know, when we're thinking about the vineyard that Bob read yesterday, we have to understand that the land is testifying for God to us in the world.
Right.
And the problem is that we think that prophecy should really be fulfilled within 100 years or whatever Paul says as far as being soon, and Peter thought soon, but
right.
Soon
yeah,
hasn't happened yet.
2,000 years ago, right.
It's already 2,000 years.
Right.
But the land was a dust bowl for 2,500 years. God told that to Ezekiel 200 years after Isaiah, and we don't understand that that was testifying to us about God's sovereignty, in that the land he wasn't going to allow to become abundant without his people back on it.
1940 what?
9.
1949 it happened.
And yeah. It's changed, and it's just like Isaiah eventually saw in his 60s, that the land would be like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah. So let's apply this to our lives. What you have is not yours, and what I have is not mine. It's been loaned to me.
Exactly.
Now, if I open my hand up, God can put anything in my hand he wants. All right? He also can take it out and use it for what he wants. If I close my hand, he has a hard time getting anything in my hand. Think about it. Let's go to another one. You who rise early in the morning in pursuit of strong drink, and whose feasts consist of lyre and harp, tambourine and flute and wine, but you do not regard the deeds of the Lord or see the works of his hands. So people really knew how to party. They knew how to entertain themselves with music and, let's say, video games today, and television and performances and social media. They knew how to drink really well, but what they didn't know was the mind of God. Talk to us about that, Rudy.
Well, what I hear from this is that they do these on his solemn occasions, and in self-righteousness, we try to obey what we believe is the structure for a holiday, so to speak.
Right.
We're in that Passion Week right now, and really, are we thinking back to how this all happened?
Right.
And that actually tells a story too, and 1,500 years in between that the children of Israel are leaving Egypt, and the greatest army of the world's behind them, and the day that they cross the Red Sea is the same date in history that Jesus raised from the dead.
Don't miss that. Say that again. That is, don't miss it. Say that again.
God's patterns are eternal, and basically He is the ultimate teacher. And how He teaches, I believe, is by repetition. And the patterns that He makes are for a purpose. Jesus raised from the dead on a Sunday, the first day of the week, and that was exactly the same day that the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea. They were as good as dead, but God raised them back to life.
Right.
It's an echo of what Jesus did, but I suspect that this is all an echo of what it will be in the future.
There you go. Thank you. Let me pick up one more verse, and we're going to stop today, and then we'll pick up more of chapter 5 tomorrow. And that verse is verse 15. People are bowed down, anyone's brought low. The eyes of the haughty are humbled, but the Lord of hosts is exalted by justice, and the holy God shows himself holy by righteousness. Now, God's complaint about his vineyard was they were not just and they were not righteous. You can get a little shorthand word for righteous, and that is living like Jesus lived his life. You listen to the Sermon on the Mount, you watch Jesus in action, you read the Ten Commandments, and you find out what righteous living consists of. God is absolutely like that, and Jesus showed what that looks like in living, breathing person on this earth. If I want to exalt God, if you want to exalt God, then the way we do that is by living just with other people and to strive to live a life like Jesus. Rudy, thank you for your insights. Thank you all for being a part today. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to finish up chapter 5 tomorrow, and then the next day we're going to get into chapter 6. God bless you. Have a great day.